Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Inside the Force. Dave Cottingham here with Hannah Burr. Good evening, Hannah.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks, everybody, for coming back. I know it's been a couple weeks, which we'll get into a little bit, but this is episode 398. So only a couple more, Hannah.
Only a couple more. Literally a couple more.
Couple more, and we're at number 400, which unfortunately won't be next week because I am on vacation next week. So in about 3 weeks, we should be hitting number 400, which I was kind of thinking, like, what can we do? I was thinking, can we have like some guests on here and stuff like that?
Yeah.
But honestly, I'm thinking, and who knows? I don't know if anybody will tune in, but I'm thinking maybe we do a live show.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, we'll let you know the next episode, but more likely we're just going to put it on live and see what happens. We haven't done one live. Be nice to try it, I guess, and see what happens. You know, we'll see. Is that cool? Fun. We'll just try that. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
And maybe we'll get some other people on there. I don't know. What might, maybe Corey or Martin or maybe Casey will make an appearance. Who knows? So we'll try that. But in a couple of weeks we'll do 399. So I guess shoot, you might be gone. We'll see where because you're about to travel some too, I think.
Yeah, but it's only the first half of the week.
True.
And we normally record the second half of the week. So
right.
It should be
okay.
Yay.
Yeah, we'll see.
Maybe.
We've both been doing a lot of traveling lately with work, so we'll see where that falls. But you're right, most of our travels have been earlier in the week, so we'll see what that goes. But I think that's the plan. Well, again, we haven't tried it. I think this system that we use actually sets it up pretty easily to live stream this, so we can kind of do it the same way, and we'll probably more push it onto YouTube, obviously. But we'll see. I don't know. I'll look into it while I'm on vacation to see what's best.
Love it. Let's do it.
Yes. So thank you again, of course, to our patrons. I've been out a little bit these past few weeks, which I'll explain, but I want to let you know that I've contacted you all individually, and I've got some stuff I'm going to send you all. So be on the lookout for that this month, because I really appreciate you guys sticking with us all this time. Some of you obviously have hit your year anniversary, so this is, in fact, it's been about a year since we started Patreon. So thank you guys for hanging with us and supporting the show, as always.
Yes.
But I will say that these last couple of weeks have been a little rough, just so everybody knows. Not that anybody really, I don't know if anybody minds if they really missed us or not. But we, as a family, we lost my sister-in-law. My wife's sister passed away almost 2 weeks ago now. We kind of knew it was coming, but it came pretty sudden when it happened. So that's obviously what we've been dealing with a little bit. I still went out of town for a little bit for work, and we've got we just had a lot going on and things like that. So it was weird, because even thinking about doing this again, I know we had talked throughout the week, Hannah, about recording again, and it feels like it's been a lot longer. But it really has only, I think, been a couple weeks. I think we actually put an episode out a couple weeks ago.
We did, but you all have been through so much. And based on what you and your wife and other family members have told me, last week was just a lot.
It was. Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 straight days of not only the mourning and the funeral and things like that, but there were birthdays right after that we celebrated as a family. So we still did those. So it was like 4 or 5 days in a row of just getting together at different people's houses. And so, yeah, it was tough. We needed a break, and this vacation that's coming up next week is much needed.
Yeah.
To get away for a little while. So thank you for everybody for bearing with us. And, I haven't even posted anything really or whatnot. I did personally a little bit, but I didn't say anything in our Facebook group and things like that. So I'll probably say something after we put this episode out this weekend, but know that we're still here. We're still kicking. So thank you for all there have been people that have reached out and that knew about it from Facebook and things like that. So I appreciate that. But in fact, I want to say shout out to what my cousin Ben, who I met actually at the funeral, who says Brooke's cousin Ben. I don't, we've met him a few times here and there, family events, but he lives out of town. But he says he listens to the show. So
hi, Ben.
I'm calling you out, Ben. Yeah, thanks, Ben. That was really cool to hear. That families out there listening to us. So that's cool. Yeah. So send me some. You can even text me, Ben, if you want. Just send us some feedback if you want some. If you want to. Unfortunately, too, I will say that, I know I've gone through some suffering here and some loss, but unfortunately, this segues into what has happened in the Star Wars family. Ray Stevenson has passed away. I'm not sure exactly when that happened. It happened within the last week or two, I think, since we did our last show.
Yes. But
if people don't realize, he was set to obviously appear. He's set to appear in the Ahsoka series. And I mean, he's been in a ton of stuff. I mean, tons of stuff. I actually didn't realize, and his name escapes me. I didn't realize he was one of the Warriors 3 from Thor.
Oh, wait, was he really?
Yeah, the big bearded guy.
Yeah.
That's Ray Stevenson. I didn't realize that.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why I didn't, but I just never realized it. His face is so covered up with, the big beard and whatnot, but that is him. He is, again, set to show up as, and forgive me, I had him pulled up and I just closed it. But he was set to appear in Ahsoka as what you can kind of see is, I'm not sure, big question whether or not that's an Inquisitor.
Right.
Or if he is just a Dark Jedi or possibly even Sith. Not sure. But other notable things, he played Frank Castle in the second Punisher movie called Punisher Warzone. He was he actually voiced I knew this. He voiced Gar Saxon in the Star Wars Rebels and Star Wars The Clone Wars. So he's Mandalorian, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Volstagg is the guy he plays in Thor.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I even knew that name. I just know him as Lady Sif in the Warriors 3. That's what he introduced himself as, right?
That's fantastic.
He was Firefly in G.I. Joe Retaliation. I remember that. He was in Kill the Irishman. He was in The Book of Eli.
Oh, okay.
He was in King Arthur back in 2004. Divergent. I don't know. He's been in a lot of stuff. But he's definitely about to be Ahsoka. Baylan Skoll, that's his name that he's playing in Ahsoka.
Awesome.
So we will honor him and, pay tribute to him and enjoy him as we start watching Ahsoka later in August, at the end of August. But man, tough to hear.
Absolutely.
May 21st. So that's the day after my sister-in-law passed.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, I remember reading about that. Only 58 years old.
Oh.
That's killer. I don't even know if they released
Cause of death?
how he passed, right? I don't think, I haven't read it.
I haven't seen anything, but that doesn't mean it's not out there.
It says no cause of death has been revealed.
Oh.
But he was reportedly hospitalized while on the set filming Casino in Ischia. I don't know, an island in Italy.
Okay.
So.
Oh, boy.
Something happened.
Unfortunately, life is short, and unfortunately, that applies to everybody. So just be kind to people. Be nice. You don't know somebody's story. Just be a decent human being out there, please.
Mm-hmm.
There's too much hate going on in the world right now.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. And what I could tell from people posting, and especially people that were on set with him, like Rosario and Dave Filoni and things like that, they really enjoyed him. They really respected him and what he had done to the role that he played in Ahsoka. So unfortunately, yeah, we won't be able to market himself while that's going on. But like I said, we'll enjoy it, I'm sure. I think he's got to be a very important character in that series. I think everybody's kind of wondering what he's going to be doing with that character.
Yes.
So we will see. August 31st is when that debuts.
All righty.
So we got what? 1, 2, 3, about 3 months.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It'll go by like that.
I know. It will. So moving on, we'll talk briefly about it right now, but we'll dive more into it in a Beyond the Saga, because it is a Beyond the Saga story. But I do want to talk about Jedi Survivor a little bit, because I did finish playing it actually over these last few weeks.
God bless you. Yeah. That's a long game.
It is, but it's actually not too bad when you're just doing the story mode, which I did. So I didn't have to spend like hours trying to defeat somebody.
And you didn't go through a couple of game controllers or anything like that?
Nope. Didn't play angry, didn't hate quit or anything like that. Rage quit or whatever they call it. Now, you watched the cutscenes.
Yes.
So without, just kind of our general review.
General review?
General review of the storyline that you're really the storyline that we're talking about.
I really love it. It's Cal trying to get the gang back together and trying to figure out what's his new place in this world. We see Cal, I think in the cutscenes especially, I saw how Cal actually influenced Saw Gerrera.
Right.
With the whole mentality of, you know what, it's whatever it takes. And I find that so interesting, because we would think that Saw Gerrera got that from, out of revenge for his sister, out of revenge for, everything that's been wrong. So it's more of a carnal and animalistic type of gut feeling. But from the first game and from these cutscenes, we really see that Cal influenced Saw Gerrera that way. So that's Cal's attitude for a good chunk of this game. It's very much of whatever it takes. And I love the fact that about halfway through the game, I won't say what happens that makes him do this, because that is a huge spoiler. Yeah. But we see him dabble in the dark side. Mm-hmm. And I think that's very important. And then the way that this game ends, I love it. I love it that it doesn't end with him trying to reform the Jedi, restart the Jedi, whatever. I love that it ends with him going, all right, I guess I'll wait. And that's all I'll say, because I don't think that's a major spoiler.
No. Yeah.
Compared to everything else that happens in the game, which you now know. But I love the story. I do love that he and Marin have a little interesting interaction. You know, it's about time that that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I think what I just love about it is the rawness of it. And I know we'll talk about this more, but we truly see, because we sort of see in the movies Anakin struggle with the dark side, but it's very surface level. We get to see Cal wrestle with the dark side on a very deep level.
Right.
And I think that we need more of that, you know, because it's good and evil. It's what we face every single day. Every single day we make decisions out of goodness or out of evil. You know,
Yes.
I view that lens through, you know, a faith-based lens, but anybody can view that through any lens. We make choices based out of good intentions or bad intentions. And I think that's ultimately what makes one of the things that makes Star Wars so familiar with many people is because it's that struggle of good and evil.
Yeah.
And I think that the fact that with a lot of Jedi, we don't necessarily see that on a deep level. A lot of the times we're like, oh, they're just naturally good or the decision's easy for them. But with this game, you as the player truly do experience, no, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
It's not that clear. There's a lot of gray there. So that's like my overall review of the game. What do you think?
Yeah. I think it is an incredible story. It's one that always felt like it was going to end, but kept going.
Yeah. I remember when you told me, you're like, yeah, I'm at the end of the game. Where are you at? I'm at this point. Dude, you're not. You're nowhere close.
Yeah, no. That was probably at a halfway point.
That was the midpoint.
Which I will say, which I hope, I don't think this is a spoiler because it goes a lot deeper than this. But it was unbelievably surprising how it connected to the High Republic.
Right?
I didn't think it was going to go there.
At least not as deep as it did.
Absolutely. And you see, I think you're really starting to see that Lucasfilm's plan when they first announced the High Republic, in that it was just this publication venture of this new era of Star Wars. But I truly think you're starting to see, not only with this game, but obviously with the Acolyte and other mediums, comics and stuff like that, that they're incorporating, that there is truly a plan to somehow intertwine that era with all the other content that's coming out. I have a feeling I have this feeling Ahsoka is going to possibly go there too.
Really?
A little bit, because you can, she's looking around, in the trailer, it seems like she's finding these temples or finding these old places.
Good point.
I don't know. I feel like they're trying to sprinkle in that era and connect it all, just like Filoni and Favreau kept talking about this. It's all in the same universe, and they're going to do that with Dawn of the Jedi and New Jedi Order. It's all going to somehow intertwine, right? It's not going to just kind of stand alone. So this definitely was that. I mean, this bridges so many different things, and I wasn't prepared for that. I was like, "Whoa, this is crazy."
It was nuts. Like, even within the first, I don't know how many hours of gameplay this would be equivalent to, but even with like the first half hour of watching the cutscenes, you're like, whoa, excuse me, what? Mm-hmm. We're going there. Okay. And so
it was pretty soon in the gameplay. It was pretty soon.
Yeah. I was going nuts. And my husband's like, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was very, very good. Very surprising. It really, and it didn't do it in a way where it felt, out of place or forced. You know, it really made sense. And it really added to, you know, not only this story, but also a little bit of like Obi-Wan in a sense of what happens in Obi-Wan, which I can't really talk about because I think that's kind of spoiling it a little bit. So, but you can kind of see that that it's intertwined in the same era because this game takes place the same time as Obi-Wan does.
Yes.
We're roughly in the same time, 10 years before A New Hope, or 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. Mm-hmm. So that connection to the High Republic and what's happening now is just really well done. One of the to be honest, one of the best stories in Star Wars, I feel like.
Absolutely.
This game was pretty incredible.
Especially in modern Star Wars time. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I believe, see, it took me a few weeks to get through it all, but I want to say, I don't even remember. Was there an Inquisitor in this game? I don't even remember if I fought an Inquisitor in this game. Maybe I did. Maybe I did early on.
I don't know if I'm confusing that in the book.
Yeah, the book definitely has the fifth brother, but definitely the fifth brother is not in this game.
No.
Because at this point he's on the Obi-Wan show technically.
Right.
I think don't you fight you refight the sister, right?
That's what I thought. That's right. Towards the beginning, don't you fight the third sister?
Third sister, yes.
Yes. I was about to say I swear there is one. Yeah, towards the beginning of the game, third sister.
But again, I like what I like is that they kind of got past the whole Inquisitor stuff, and didn't go down that same road, and we went to this other way. You know, so that it really made it really new and refreshing and very, very enjoyable. Now, I don't know if this is a knock. The only knock I would say is that, you know, you play Jedi Fallen Order, which takes place 5 years before this, right?
Right.
And I get it. You can't do this in the timeline of Star Wars, but in that game, you learn all these skills. And obviously, you don't have those skills when you start playing this game.
Welcome to gameplay.
Exactly. You kind of have to like relearn some stuff, and build up to be what you were in the last game. So I get it that's part of the gameplay, but it obviously wouldn't make sense in the timeline of things. So that is roughly our talk about Survivor. I think we'll talk more about it in a Beyond the Saga, which next week you will get an episode still from us. You'll get a Beyond the Saga from us. We're going to talk about Battle Scars, which is the novel that takes place between the two games. So we'll talk about that. You guys will get that next week. And then when we get back, we'll do a full Beyond the Saga of Jedi Survivor, where we still won't spoil a lot of things, but we'll get a little bit deep diver into.
We'll have to say some things because there are some things you just can't ignore talking about.
Absolutely. And, you know, the game's been out for a while now. You know, we won't be very similar to what we do with our other stories. We'll talk about some things. Okay, let's get into some the release schedule here. Just an update on that. Novels that are coming out. The Inquisitor novel, Rise of the Red Blade. That's our next adult/young adult novel coming. That's an adult novel, July 18th. From a Certain Point of View, The Return of the Jedi, which we're going to get into here in a second. September 5th, Crimson Climb, the Kira novel, October 10th. And then High Republic, Eye of Darkness, which is the kickoff to Phase 3. Comes out November 14th. Comics. Today's June 1st. I don't have the June schedule in front of me, so we'll have to do that next time.
All right, teaser.
But yesterday you could have gotten, if you want to go out and get it, Dr. Aphra 32 and Sana Staros number 4. I'll talk about the June and July schedules next time. Okay, I was kind of struggling with, I guess, there's not a lot of news out there right now. It's kind of quiet in the Star Wars realm. Lucasfilm right now is gearing up to push Indiana Jones, which comes out at the end of this month.
Yes.
So there's a lot of marketing for that going on now. I don't see any marketing yet for Ahsoka. I'm sure that's going to ramp up probably in July.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was a trailer of Ahsoka that kind of came out when Indiana Jones premiered.
Probably will. Yep.
Or like some background stuff or pictures, something.
Yeah. I think, because June 30th is when Indy comes out. That would make sense for another trailer to drop then. Absolutely. But I do anticipate at some point, either July, I guess, maybe going into August, I feel like we got to get something from Skeleton Crew also, because that comes out later this year. So
we have to get some, and who knows? Maybe it'll be like like the Book of Boba Fett was teased in Mandalorian. Maybe it's Skeleton Crew's teased in Ahsoka.
It might be. It could be for sure.
Who knows?
So without a lot of news or a lot of big reveals going on out there, I think the one thing we can just briefly talk about, which we should have had on the agenda anyway, was a lot of things in May that was talked about and coming out on StarWars.com was regarding the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
It released in May. I know we're in June now, but we'll talk about it as they're finishing up the celebration of it. Jedi, Return of the Jedi. So 1983, this was actually the first Star Wars movie I saw in the theater.
Oh.
So I was 5 and a half, I guess, when I went. I don't totally remember. I just remember seeing it and not really knowing what it was about, right? I didn't really, because I had not seen the first two movies.
Oh.
Dad just, and I'm not even sure my dad at the time saw the other two movies. I think it was just, let's go see this movie. And we went and saw it. So it was completely out of context and obviously I was too young to really even understand the story too much. So it wasn't until more like late 80s, 87, 88. I remember watching and seeing the first two at that point, but kind of seeing, not really sitting down and just watching them all the way through all the time. It was always just bits and pieces, like I'd pop it in and I'd watch it a little bit and get distracted and you know what I mean? So it's like, I remember seeing them all, and I remember for a while going into high school, which was for me the early 90s, I was still watching them a little bit, but then, and I had this in my head that I knew I was obviously a fan of it, and I knew the story. I knew that, Luke and Leia were Vader's kids. I knew that Vader was Anakin, and but the whole galaxy size story of it, I just really didn't fully grasp. I knew about Jedi, and I didn't really know about Sith because Sith wasn't really promoted at the time, right? You didn't know.
Oh yeah.
You didn't know Vader. You knew Vader was Dark Lord of the Sith, but no one knew what that meant.
Right.
Emperor Palpatine was not considered a Sith at the time.
Right.
Right? So he was just a bad guy.
Huh.
So for me, it really wasn't until the special editions came out in 97 when I saw, all three movies back in the theaters. Actually, right before that in 96, they re-released the original movies, not the special editions, the original movies on VHS, the VHS. And I remember buying those and me and Dad popping them in at the house and watching them all the way through, one after the other after the other. And I remember then, that was when it was like 95, 96. That's when it was really wow, I am in this. I get everything. I get the political side of it because, politics, as a kid, you don't care about that kind of stuff. But I understood, the galactic side of it, the imperial side of it, as far as the army and the navy and things like that, because my dad was military, and then the political side of it, and the Jedi side of it. It all just clicked at that point. It all just flooded in and clicked at that point. And then I saw the special editions in the theaters, and then of course camped out for episode 1 and blah 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 blah. So after all saying all that, I just want to say, whenever I watched them in 95, 96 and really just engrossed myself in it, to be honest, Jedi was actually my favorite movie first. Like I come to really feel like Empire is my favorite, and I think probably the best one. But I really loved how Jedi just wrapped it up. Wrapped that trilogy up really well. There's obviously some great scenes with Luke and Leia. That's still one of my favorite scenes there, when he reveals to her, that they're brother and sister. The whole Vader thing, obviously. I mean, the Emperor. I mean, I really think it's still probably, it's probably top 4 still on my list of movies, Star Wars movies. So, I know it was kind of a long rant of my history of it, but I do love Return of the Jedi. So, Hannah, a little bit from you. What do you think?
I completely agree with you. Growing up, Return of the Jedi was my favorite out of the 6 Star Wars. Like you said, I don't know, it hit different. I don't know if there's a way to describe it, but then I guess like the more we learned about film, the more we learned about story, we kind of realized that objectively, Empire is a better movie. It's not even a question about subjectivity at that point. It's objectively, it's a better movie. But yeah, Return of the Jedi always, and I think it's just because it's that powerful moment of redemption for Vader. Mm-hmm. I think that's what drew me to it, because like growing up, I would purposely fast forward everything to the end because I wanted to see that scene, because I like that huge, or not even the scene, but that huge sequence.
Right.
The thing is, I remember being on the playground and my friends telling me in elementary school, "You got to watch Star Wars. You got to watch Star Wars. Can't believe you haven't seen Star Wars yet." And then I don't remember the first time watching it. I just from that point on, I just knew Star Wars. I do remember whenever the first time I saw it, I thought Princess Leia was amazing.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy crap, I want to be like her. I also think, like, I don't know, it just, yeah, Return of the Jedi, I always went back to that movie. We had the VHS. We did have the special edition, but I always went to the VHS because I did not like the special editions.
Return didn't really change that much.
I know, but like even as a kid, I was like, this just looks bad. With it just, there was too much contrast there. So I would always go to the VHS and I would always reach for Return of the Jedi. Like there was no doubt. Even my dad's like, "Are you sure you don't want to watch A New Hope or Empire?" I'm like, "No, Return of the Jedi. We have to watch Return of the Jedi."
Yeah.
So I, we're on the same wavelength regarding that. But unlike you, I don't really have like a prominent moment of this is how I felt when I watched it for the first time. Because like everything was spoiled for me. Because kids in elementary school, they don't realize the concept of spoilers.
No, totally.
So I knew what was going to happen, but still, it wasn't. I remember it being incredible to the point that was the one out of the 3 that I wanted to watch over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I think like I said, in the 80s, I was just more fascinated with the sci-fi aspect of it, the Jedi the mysteries and the Force aspect of it, which has always been my biggest part of why I'm such a fan of it. because the whole Rebels and Empire. I mean, again, that's the good and the bad, and that was fine. But I was more into. That's why I'm more into Yoda and Jedi and Luke and Obi-Wan and that dynamic that they had throughout that trilogy, and again, Return just brings that all together. You get Obi-Wan that explains the whole Anakin backstory. Obviously, you get the death of Yoda, which is totally unfortunate, but he reveals that there's another Skywalker, which at the time we're like, what? And then you get, like you said, the redemption of Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, and you finally get to see the Emperor, because the Emperor, the first two movies has been this hidden character, and you finally get him, and you get to see how powerful he is, and then you can't beat the space battle going on at the same time as the ground battle, and it is truly a really good story driven, action driven film that truly does come. I mean, it truly does come to an end. Like, I know that we now know that Star Wars kept going, and there was Aftermath, and then there was the sequel trilogy and things like that. But I mean, that was at the time for years the end of the Star Wars saga.
Yeah.
And everything was supposed to kind of peaceful again, right? The evil empire is destroyed, and we've reestablished peace and justice in the galaxy. But lo and behold, it doesn't end like that.
Nope.
So for a time there, it still feels like an ending. I know they've manipulated it now, and it's the Skywalker saga is 9 films now, but I remember always at the end of that, watching that movie, even right before the prequels came out, I was always interested in what is the backstory of these characters, especially Vader, especially Obi-Wan. And I'm glad we got that. And this was, it was just, I can't even tell you how many times I've seen this movie. It is hundreds. I mean, maybe hundreds of times. It's over the course of the last, 35 years, at least that's the last time I've seen as much as I've seen it. So where does Jedi rank? Do you have your list? I have my list like somewhere here. Like,
I have my list somewhere. Let me see if I can.
Because I usually have.
Man, I don't know. I'm gonna be able to find it. I'm gonna have to scroll way
Here's my
back.
ranking. Yeah. I have it as number 3.
I'm fairly certain it's pretty high, at least in the top 5.
Yeah, it's 3 if you're just counting the Skywalker saga.
I think my list includes Solo and Rogue One.
Right. So with those, it's 4.
Okay. That's right. You like Rogue One.
Yes. And Solo was actually on last night on TNT when I was scrolling through, and I started watching that again. I'm like, man, I really do like this movie.
Solo's great.
I really like
crapping
Solo.
all over it, and I'm like, Solo's a great movie. Just kind of ignore the first 10 minutes, and then you're all good to go.
Solo actually might be number 5 for me now.
Oh, really? Where is this list?
I had Rise of Skywalker ahead of Solo, but I actually kind of like Solo more, I think.
I might have had Rise of Skywalker ahead of Solo, too. When did Rise of Skywalker come out?
Oh, that was 2019?
Oh, good gravy. I'm still in 2022 on Facebook.
What did you posted your ranking?
I posted it.
Well, while you're looking for that, my overall ranking of all Star Wars movies.
Yeah, go for it.
At least what I have written down right now, which I pretty much feel, well, I'm going to change it. I'm going to change it now because
Oh, you're changing.
I'm going to change it right now because I think I'm feeling it now. I probably did that one like you did, like after Rise of Skywalker came out.
Yeah.
And I'm moving that down now a little bit. So I'm going to go and I'm going to change. Ooh. Yeah, I'm actually going to change this a lot.
Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. Yeah. Okay. All right.
You're still looking?
I'm in 2020.
So I am going.
Star Wars Day. Yeah. What are you doing?
Okay. Yeah, this is. Okay, now, yeah, okay, this is what I'm doing now. I'm going. So Rogue One definitely tops.
That's number 1 for you.
Oh yeah, love it. Rogue One's my favorite.
Okay, dokie.
Now again, well, I still think Empire is the best Star Wars movie made, but as far as favorites, this is favorites.
Okay, this is favorites.
Like if you were to sit down and just start watching your favorites from, 1 to, how many is there? Not 10, 11? 11 movies. If you were to just sit down, your favorite ones first, this is the order I would do. Rogue One.
Okay.
Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
Return of the Jedi. Solo. Rise of Skywalker. A New Hope. Phantom Menace. Attack of the Clones. Force Awakens. Last Jedi.
Last Jedi is your last one.
Yes.
Okay.
Although it's growing on me, but it's not there yet.
No. Do you think that'll ever end up being very similar to the way Empire was?
No.
Good
Empire was still Empire. I never felt like Empire was that hated or divided,
Really?
No. Well, by the time Return of the Jedi came out, it kind of explained everything that happened in Empire, because what threw Empire off obviously was what Vader's his father, what who's Yoda, and what. And
okay.
Once Return of the Jedi came out, it kind of fixed it, and I think Rise of Skywalker did some of that to some people for Last Jedi. It did for me a little bit, but it wasn't still there for me. And I really do I love Force Awakens, but to be honest, with Hayden coming back, and now that Obi-Wan came out, and a lot of the stuff, that novels that we've gotten, and a lot of the callbacks to like Bad Batch and stuff like that, that's really made their prequels higher on my list.
Right.
So that's why I moved, because Attack of the Clones used to be on the bottom for me, but that has come up a little bit. And so anyway, did you find it?
I found it, and I did move some things around. That's what I was doing while listening to you. So I did move some things. So number 1, and this is from like most to least favorite. Number 1, Empire Strikes Back. Number 2, Return of the Jedi. Number 3, A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, Rise of Skywalker. Number 5, Solo. Number 6, The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7, Revenge of the Sith. Number 8, Phantom Menace. Number 9, Attack of the Clones. Number 10, Rogue One. Number 11, Last Jedi.
Rogue One way down.
Don't. As a woman, I don't like the fact that they were pushing like, oh, this has a strong female lead, and I'm like, it's a passive, weak female lead. Like, come on. Like, if you took seriously, while reading Rebel Rising, I kept on saying, why is this not in the movie? Why is this Jin not the Jin we see in the movie? It makes no sense to me. But anyway, I will not go down that.
Yeah, because we've got commentaries we will do on these movies.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, we've got to start doing commentaries on these things because I think that's I believe Solo and Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, I think, and even Rise of Skywalker, I think those landed in the same.
Was Rise 4 for you?
Oh no, Rise. You have Rise at 4?
I have Rise at 4, Solo at 5.
Solo was the same, and then I think Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones was the same.
Yeah, 8 and 9. And I think Last Jedi was the same for both of us.
Last Jedi's at the end, yes. For both of us. Yeah. So Rogue One's the one that throws it all off.
Just saying.
Just saying. So, okay. So
I love
get
Andor,
into,
but
that'll be interesting when we get into commentaries about that because that'll be good.
Like the only character I care about. Anyway, I'll save it for the commentary.
Yes, save it for the commentary. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Love to hear your thoughts on Return of the Jedi. Got to be one of your favorites because I know it's one of the most popular ones out there. High on a lot of people's. I believe Cody, has done the show with us several times. That is his all-time favorite. I think is Return of the Jedi. And I believe it's Corey's also, actually.
I feel like a lot of people either have Return or Empire in their top 2. Like it's back and forth between the two, I feel like.
Okay. Quick comment from a couple weeks ago. Thrawn Addict, our buddy there, he mentions great episode once again. This is the one we did mainly about Visions. We kind of talked about Star Wars Visions.
Yes.
He said, sad to hear about the Star Cruiser shutting down. Would have liked to experience it, but agree with Hannah. Price was a bit too steep, especially for a family. Would have happily done a 2-day experience or something shorter where I could justify the price a little bit more. Very interesting rumor, Dave Filoni, Heir to the Empire, being a trilogy. Would prefer 3 films rather than trying to condense everything into one film. I would have no problem with the Heir to the Empire title. It's a great nod to the books, and Thrawn will still be the main protagonist. And Heir so makes sense. Marvel had done Civil War, Secret Invasion, and Infinity War film series, and they are very different from graphic novels. I do think, though, so many films are based on books, and a lot are pretty close adaptations to the source material. There are so many good Star Wars novels out there they could just adapt, and would love to see live action like Lost Stars, Lords of the Sith, Alphabet Squadron, and all High Republic novels.
Yes.
Any books you and Hannah would like to see in a live action film or series?
Well, now that you mentioned Lost Stars, 1,000,000% yes. 1,000,000%.
He mentions Alpha. I couldn't get an Alphabet Squadron.
I couldn't.
I'm going to try again, but unfortunately, I would have loved to see, and maybe you still could because it's not fully centered around the original characters, but the Aftermath books.
Oh, heck yes.
That would be incredible.
I think the only one you would have to quote unquote worry about is Wedge.
Yes.
But I feel like you could fudge that.
In Empire's End, or not Empire's End, in the Life Debt, there's a little Han and Chewie a lot in there. But you still got a lot of new characters in there that I'd love to see in live action, especially the squad, the main squad.
Agreed, 1,000,000%.
A young Snap Wexley and Nora Wexley and
Sloane. Can we get a live action Sloane finally?
Totally. Well, I mean, obviously, you could do Thrawn.
That would be
Thrawn books, especially the Ascendancy books, right?
Oh my gosh, yes, yes, and you could even with either you could have Hayden Christensen make a guest star appearance, no problem.
Yes. I'm looking at the books.
I think it'd be cool to see Dark Disciple, but I feel like you would run into too many problems because it takes place during the Clone Wars. I'd like to see that, though. I would love to see the Dooku audio drama.
Yeah.
That would be really, really cool to see in live action. Obviously, I don't think you could get Christopher Lee to do it, but
that's a lot of that takes place when he's younger, though.
I feel like a lot of the things that I would love to see in live action are things that would be very difficult to do live action unless you completely recast it.
Agreed.
A good question.
Yeah, that's why I'm leaning towards probably the Thrawn Ascendancy books.
Definitely. I feel like that even the shoot, I forgot the name of the title. He said it.
Alphabet Squadron, Lords of the Sith, Lost Stars. Oh, Lost Stars.
Even Lost Stars, you can get away with doing that.
You can do Lost Stars. That would be pretty good. Lost Stars and honestly, I think I don't know if it'd have to be directly from the books or one book, but I wouldn't mind seeing a version of that. But the Battlefront book that is called Twilight Company.
I have not gotten to that one yet, so
Battlefront 2, the book was based on the Inferno Squadron, which was in the games, right?
Right.
So that one's kind of already, but the first one, which was called Twilight Company, was a group of soldiers, rebel soldiers, that kind of takes place, kind of like Lost Stars, kind of takes place over the course of the original trilogy. And it would be really cool to follow a squad like that in live action, going through like the battle of their versions of the Battle of Endor, the Battle of Hoth, or something like that, that you're reading. Because like I keep going back to the scene in that book where they were there when Vader was coming in Hoth, and he's in, we don't see it in the movie,
right?
But he's actually wielding his lightsaber and like killing a bunch of rebels.
It's insane.
Yeah, and these guys are like, who is this guy? Like, we can't hit him with our blaster, so like they never got a taste of Vader yet. And seeing that would be, that just getting that perspective is pretty cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah, great question. Love that. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We said that was going to be.
You gave a couple of shout outs you gave a shout out to a family member. Can I give a couple of shout outs to family? Of course. Shout out to my parents, Marge and Tom, who are listening. And also.
They do listen?
They listen. And does my father-in-law, Sam.
Oh.
Love you all. Yet he'll have conversations with me after the episodes air saying, oh, what about this?
Well, you got to bring that up more often.
I don't know what the line of bringing up family in a podcast is.
Well, they're listeners, right? The family are, everybody that listens to us is family. So
there you go. Boom.
There you go. Cool. Tell them to start going YouTube and leaving some comments. That's what they need to do.
There you go.
No, yeah, I definitely appreciate that. Thanks everybody for listening and tuning in. Coming up on number 400 here in a couple weeks, so come back for that. Let us know what you think about the live thing. I don't know what a good time would be, because I know we got a lot of listeners that are overseas and different parts of the country, different parts of the world. So I don't know what time would be best. I don't, we'll see. But we will be back in a couple weeks. Thanks everybody for listening. Next week, tune in on YouTube for our Beyond the Saga on Jedi Battle Scars. So thanks everybody. Have a great weekend and your week off, because we have the week off. Thanks, Hannah, as always.
Thank you, as always.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time. May the Force be with you.